So on the 10th anniversary of Native Instruments, maybe you'd like to first of all introduce yourselves.
Yeah, my name is Stefan Schmidt. I'm the founder and the president of the company.
Yeah, my name is Daniel Haver. I'm the CEO of the company, and we're going to explain later on what's the job sharing between the two of us.
So Stefan, maybe as the founder of the company, maybe you'd like to take us back to the early 90s and what the inspiration was behind you thinking about starting a company like this.
Yeah, it was the time when it became possible to develop software instruments, or at least in my vision, it seemed to be possible to develop instruments that are based on software. And because I was a player of hardware instruments, of synthesizers for many years, at the same time I was also an electronic engineer, so I knew very well about the electronic background of the algorithms and processes running in these synthesizers. So I was dreaming of creating my own version or my own new instrument quite a long time, but it became possible in the 90s because of the faster processors being available and software design being a base for synthesis. This was the idea. Yeah, in '96 we had a prototype that we could show on Musikmesse Frankfurt, and so we got some interest on this prototype, and so there was a first possible customer. So I decided, okay, now we have to file the company, and so we did this in May '96, and I think in autumn '96 we delivered our first generator 0.98. We gave the people the ability to create instruments and also to tweak them easily. We didn't get the full trust of everybody in the beginning because there were issues with the processor power, with the latencies, with the sound cards.
I mean, how many copies did you sell in the first year or first phase?
Yeah, and in the first year, in '96, it was really only this one copy, maybe two or three, and some copies to important people or people at the press, and this was all that we sold. So it was not a business in these days. And '97 it became different because we built up something like a distribution there.
So things started to move along around '97, and that's when Daniel joined. Daniel, maybe you can just tell us a little bit about the state you found Native Instruments in when you first arrived.
Yeah, actually, I should say that I was introduced to Native Instruments by a friend. At the time, I was not a musician. I had a graphics and web design studio, but I was a listener of electronic music. So I learned about Native Instruments, learned about the fact that the tools that Stefan and Volker were creating, then actually together with my friend Bernd, would have a strong influence on the music that I listened to. The other part was that I understood that there is a great commercial opportunity, even if it was at the time the 10 copies that Stefan was just mentioning that they sold. I felt immediately the potential, and I wanted to be part of something that has such a strong influence on, or that might have a strong influence on music.
And how many people were at the company when you joined?
Basically, after Stefan and Volker founded the company in '96, 4 people separately walked up to the guys, walked up to Stefan and offered their service. The 4 of us each individually asked Stefan if we could join and just get some shares in the company instead of salaries.
And maybe you could talk a little bit about the atmosphere at Native Instruments.
I like to call it an anarchistic group of or almost communist-minded people, which was not exactly my approach to the company, but I had to deal with it. Everybody was very special, very different from the other, and what got us together was just the vision, and that was an interesting experiment.
There must have been a great spirit in the company at that time.
Yeah, it was not a solo project anymore, or a two-person thing. So everybody was bringing in his idea about the products, about the future, about the possible developments that we could go.
So there must have come a point when you said, okay, we're going to expand our product line, and then I guess there was a decision about in which direction you would expand it.
An important driving factor was that the people tried to emulate old equipment, like the analog synthesizers, with reactor structures or generator structures. We saw there's a big need for this, say, vintage emulations. And another big factor was that the VSTi interface was introduced by Steinberg. And together with this request for vintage emulations, we decided to bring out the first synthesizer, the Pro 5, an emulation of the Prophet, and the second was the organ, the B4, the emulation of the Hammond B3, and they were the first, you can say, on the market, the first serious products that really made use of this new plug-in interfaces.
So it must have been at around this time that you made another interesting move, which was to go outside of Native Instruments to work with a developer who was also making a very interesting new synthesizer. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
It is a phenomena at Native Instruments that whenever something very exciting pops up somewhere, both of us will find out about it because somebody's going to come up to me or Stefan and say, "Have you learned about this? This is amazing. This is an exciting thing. You should see this." And actually that happened when Absinthe was released by Brian Clevenger. So we said, let's see if we can work together with this guy and optimize the product. And actually out of that resulted in very, very nice and well-working collaboration until today.
It must have been also around this time you started getting more into the sampling market as well with Contact and Battery. Yeah,
that was in the beginning. It was a similar case that we found a product that was developed by Wolfgang Schneider, and who's living in Munich and still working from Munich with us. And this product showed that, some real qualities in the domain of sampling, and so we convinced him to work with us for our line of sampling products. And so there was the first thing coming out was Battery, and then later Contact, a full-blown, high-quality sampler.
Talking about Guitar Rig brings about the question about integrating hardware into your products. Maybe you can tell us more about there's practical reasons and also the business reasons for that.
We felt there is a need to provide to our customers, to the musicians and producers, a solution that is integrated, where the hardware controller speaks perfectly to the software and vice versa. And we want to give the guitar player the perfect solution which allows him just to get on and rock.
So should we talk about Core a little bit now, because as we're getting onto that phase. Core has just been released a couple of months ago. Tell me a bit about the concept of Core.
With Core, we give a shell that can be used to work sound-oriented. It means not to think so much about different instruments and different plugins, but more to think about sounds that you would like to use. And that means you plug in Core once, and then Core does the job for you to select the right plugin, to combine plugins, to mix them, process them, and so on. The other application for Core is being a live host. So the standalone version of Core is a mixer. It's a full environment that you need to run your instruments on stage.
Core is our answer to the current state in this instruments domain, and to make it just intuitive and easy to find the sound that you want and to work with it the way that you want. Plus, we've been talking about hardware, giving you also the haptical control that you need.
10 years is a long time. You've grown a lot. So much has changed within Native Instruments. So much has changed in the market. You must have gone through, you two and your team, gone through so many highs and lows. What do you think what was your lowest point in the last 10 years?
I think we immediately both know what was the lowest point.
I mean, we really had hard times to survive in some phases. We were growing fast on the cost side as well, and it was we had some real critical phases, but I have to mention all the people who are employed and working with us. They really believed in the company, and so everybody helped to get along and across it.
The last 10 years must have brought you a lot of pleasure and a lot of satisfaction, and a lot of high points too. Maybe you'd like to tell us some of those.
I believe that we are very lucky. We are really lucky. We had a vision, and we were able to make it become reality until today, and we continue to do that. So as much challenges as we are facing all the time, because that is just an implicit element of a growing company which wants to enter new areas, we have a lot of pleasure doing what we do, and I think really the highlights are the product releases.
So what gets you up in the morning?
When people tell me that without us it wouldn't have been possible to create the music that they do, and they actually get me excited with the music that they do, that is really aside of the commercial aspects, really what drives me, and I believe a lot of people in the company, to see that we change something, that we influence something which we all enjoy, because music is part of all of our lives, and making these instruments accessible to basically everyone. This is what I believe Native Instruments can say. We had a big portion in giving this access to the people and to musicians and producers that usually wouldn't have had the opportunity to actually dig in that domain and to use high-quality sounds with their production.
It's a big demand also for the future to make software more touchable and controllable, and we got so much sound potential, but the question is, can you play this? The usability and the ease of use and the experience that you have when you use them, it can be improved so much, and that's where we see one of the big challenges in the future.